The data really leaves no doubt. But one thing we've learned is that Zeffiro wasn't always a caste. He made that change to extend his longevity for his experiments.
That's some dedication.
Yes, he was entirely committed to his work. In the beginning, it looks like he did try to keep the Halpha experiments safe, but he wasn't getting the results he was looking for. When he developed the dolls, the experiments became something more like real warfare. A big turning point for that was when he introduced Dark Falls. It basically became survival of the fittest. Defenders who survived saw tremendous spikes in their photon power.
And so, that's why we were forced to fight against Dark Falls too.
I honestly could never forgive what Zeffiro has done. But I can understand why he did it. As Aelio's leader, I understand doing whatever it takes. I feel the same about the people of Aelio. Of course, I would never take things as far as he did. I heard that he said his wish had been fulfilled. If that's true, it means we can beat the Starless. At least I hope so.
Hey. I'm good. Thanks for asking. I'm just doing a little patrolling. Keeping an eye out for the Starless. We lost a lot of defenders in that fight the other day. I'm not looking to make that a habit. Thanks for your help, by the way. You really bailed me out there. Not my best look, though, I'll admit. I didn't think, I just moved. I'm glad Aina was alright. I never should have let the enemy get the drop on us in the first place. I was so focused on following orders and returning to base. The only reason we even pulled through is because you and Aina were there. That's not how a squad leader should act. But at least that skirmish got us some intel on the Starless. Now we know how they fight. So we'll never get caught off guard like that again. I've gone ahead and shared what we learned with our veteran ARC's defenders. And hopefully, we'll refine our tactics as we get more and more intel. As our guardian, I'd like you to lead them in this battle. Alright, I better get back to it. The Starless are a threat. Make no mistake about that. Good to see you. I was reading that Lacilan report. It made me want to look to the sky. Would you mind lending me an ear as I get my thoughts together? Resurgent ARCS members were born to research and develop ARCs and alls. That's it. That's all they've ever known. And the result of this ARC's development plan they were working on was... us. But then, where does that leave Meteorn like you? And me? Meteorn come from outside Alpha's atmosphere. Way beyond Lucille. I hear there's a huge station up there. But according to them, even the Lucilleans know nothing about it, aside from the fact that it sent out some Meteorn. Seems like the people of Alpha came up with the word Meteorn in the first place. The Lucilleans called us first generation, second generation, and so on. Crawford and Ina are descendants of the second generation. You and me, we're third generation. Photon sensitivity gets stronger with each generation. But I think yours is especially strong, even for the third generation. Not that we know why that is. Even Manon and Faria say your origins are a mystery. We were created for a single purpose, to counter the Starless. People like us, we were born to either research or to fight. In my book, that's not much different from the Lucilleans. Sorry. I didn't mean to ramble. I better get back to my post.
Hello. You came at just the right time. Do you have a minute to talk? Faria here was just telling me more about the Starless.
So far, it's been familiar information.
But any scrap of info at this point helps a great deal. I thought it might be a good idea to share it with you, our Guardian. Is there anything in particular you would like to know about the Starless?
They suddenly appeared from outside of human space, seemingly from nowhere.
And then they began attacking, seemingly without reason. That was 500 years ago now. Sadly, humans at the time were no match for them, and those on the periphery were. Suffice it to say, many lives were lost in the remote star systems.
That was the outcome. After the Starless destroyed the border star systems, they began to expand their offensive even farther afield. Until one day, they suddenly disappeared.
Good question. That's what people at the time suspected. They even carried out a large-scale search. But despite their best efforts, they couldn't find so much as a trace of them.
Indeed, there was no evidence of retreat, nor any indication that they were in hiding.
It seems as though the Starless simply vanished without a trace. Regardless, the fact remains that they attacked without warning and killed billions of people. Some people saw that as reason enough to take action. And so, Resurgent Arcs was formed. But that's a long story, in and of itself. Why don't we take a little break for now? We can continue again, when you're ready. Let's get started then. People were traumatized by the Starless attack 500 years ago. Some of those people formed what would go on to become Resurgent Arcs. That much we've covered already, right? Can you continue, Feria?
Yes. Resistance to the Starless threat developed and manifested in various ways. Zephedo was part of one such resistance movement. He had also participated in the war against the Starless. Zephedo was concerned about the decline in military capability and photon power at the time. A great war had taken place 1,000 years prior, with a long period of peace afterward. And it is believed that photon power declined because people no longer needed to fight.
Additionally, without an enemy, there's no need for much of a military.
Zephedo began to study the most powerful unit in that ancient Great War to see if he could find some way to counter the Starless. That unit was Arcs.
His goal was to restore it to its former power. And so began Resurgent Arcs.
Zephedo claimed that the odds of the Starless reappearing in the next 500 years were high. He boasted that Arcs was uniquely suited to counter the Starless threat. Resurgent Arcs became a rallying point for people who shared such sentiments. His research was obsessively focused on the Starless's movement patterns. There are significant space-time fluctuations which occur at certain intervals. Among them, some are large and others are small. The one 500 years ago was small.
He predicted that a major fluctuation would occur 500 years after that. And that brings us to the current emergence of the Starless. The exact causal relationship between these two events is not well understood. Or at least, not by the Lysielans anyway.
I do not know any more than that. We had no interest in these sorts of matters. Before now, that is.
Meaning, Zeffetto didn't make a point of it. Or perhaps, deliberately wanted to hide it. We may find more answers in Lucille's core. Can I trust you to continue helping us with our investigation, Feria?
Yes.
Well, look who it is. It's not exactly research. I was just checking on that environmental control unit over there. Yeah, that's right. They're those large objects that float at regional borders. They seem to control Helfa's environment somehow. I mean, we've known that for a while now. But the Lysielans gave us some more info about them. They were saying that these things can even be found overseas. Yeah, neither have I. This entire island's environment is controlled from Lucille. The atmosphere outside of this island isn't exactly suitable for us. Which means we can't really leave. Oh, when I use the word island, I'm talking about where we're standing right now. The Lysielans referred to it as Helfa Main Island, or Central Island. Speaking of islands, apparently, Resurgent Arcs created a lot of others besides this one. They left most of them empty, from what I hear. some of them are experimental islands that we only discovered recently. They were called creative spaces, I think. And you can travel to each one of them using Ryuker devices. Well, as long as you have the right address, that is. Have you ever checked one out? Oh, okay. If you ever make something, I'd love to see it. Let me know. Show it to me once you're done. That's what the Lucilans told me. I'm sure it's true.
Very interesting.
Sup. You know, you should probably know about this, too. Do you have some time? Okay, great. Though Dozer's heard this all before.
I'll live.
So, we were talking about dolls. I'm sure you noticed, but the Starless share a lot in common with dolls. I mean, the way they look and move, for example. For example, the ones you fought recently in Rezel Forest look like Pettus and Nogleth dolls. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Dolls were designed to emulate the Starless. They're basically a simulation to prepare us to fight the real thing.
Who would have ever thought, right?
But then again, I guess that's also true of all of Halpha. From the plains and swamps to the forests and mountains. They're all artificial. They're modeled after different kinds of planets. The goal was to combine a bunch of different ecosystems to prepare for the Starless in different environments. The same goes for all the buildings. Trania, for example. Those have been training facilities all along. We were using them for the war against the dolls. But the truth was that all along, we were being trained to fight the Starless.
Which means Zephyro was toying with us the whole time.
Which is why we need to go back and review everything we thought we knew.
Yeah, you're right. If everything really was so carefully planned out, there has to be some secret to defeating the Starless. Somewhere.
Hey, there you are. Something like that. We just bumped into each other. We were talking about that thing. Our research is coming along little by little. We're starting to learn more about Lucille. Feria was talking about it before. Halpha is controlled from Lucille. I mean, they were even controlling the weather from there.
Wind, rain, snow. All of it was being manipulated.
Right down to the temperature and humidity.
I can't believe they had that level of control.
Right? I'm shocked too. The Lucillans shared some new information with us. There's a place in Lucille's core that only Zepheto can enter. If we can get in there, we can get all the info we still don't have. About the Starless and stuff.
That would be great. Do we know of some way to get in?
Unfortunately, the teleporter we used before is still down. But we did find another way to get inside Lucille.
Nice.
We put together a scout team right away and they tried going. But there was some strange space in the way.
Sorry, what?
We're still not exactly sure what to make of it. It seems like it was being used as a testing ground before Halpha was created. Or at least the remnants of it did. And it was really dangerous. There were a lot of enemies. It looks like it might not be so easy to get to the core. We're investigating the area and trying to figure out how to deal with it.
Interesting. Be sure to keep us posted.
You bet. I'll let you know how it goes.
go.